I'm still in my head saying, oh, you can't do this. You're not good enough to do this. And I'm like, yes, I am.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Reagan, and you've discovered Unicorns Unite. This is a podcast for freelancers, service providers, virtual assistants, and curious listeners who would like to experience the freedom and flexibility of working virtually. We're the magic makers, movers and shakers, and the real people doing the work behind the scenes of online businesses. Welcome to Unicorns Unite. Hey everyone, Emily Reagan here. Before we get started, please go sign up for my brand sparkly new masterclass, How to Specialize Online. We'll be covering the 5 in-demand online skill sets for the freelancer, for the service provider, for the virtual assistant who is ready to charge more and work with higher quality clients. We're going to help you signal that you're more than just a VA. We're going to help you start raising your prices, and we're going to give you some direction and where to niche down. It's going to be awesome. Go to emilyreaganpr.com/masterclass. You'll find the link in the show notes too. So today I brought on one of my very own students, Victoria Lambert. We did an interview with her a little while back about the VA crash course and why I want you to listen to her today. She is a prime example of a woman who knows her shit. Like, she has owned her own business. She has done the digital marketing game, but she still took the crash course to fill in those holes, to give her the confidence, and to help jumpstart her consulting business. So she has a good eye for design. She's a great eye for branding, and she's trying to niche down to help business owners go in that direction. And she has what it takes. I can't wait for you to meet her and just be inspired, because she's somebody who has a rich history, tons of work experience, and wasn't afraid to start over and start with something new. I think you're going to find her story very vulnerable, very motivating, and very inspiring. So let's listen in. All right. Hey, everyone. I have a special treat for you today. I have Victoria here, who is going to share her journey to being a digital media VA. So say hi and tell everyone where you're from.
Hi, everyone. My name is Victoria Lambert, and I am actually from Vancouver, British Columbia in Canada.
Yes. And you have such a unique story because you have a great past, lots of work experience. And I want you to set everyone up with all of the things you've done and just show off your variety and your skill set.
Well, I mean, it helps that I'm an old lady, so I've got a lot of years of experience behind me. For many, many years, I did the secretarial route, but then I went to back to university as a single parent, so it was pretty challenging. And I got my degree, and from there, I was able to move into more specialized work. I worked with, community development and project management and things like that. So predominantly in the poverty industry. So I've got a strong background there, but I didn't like it all that much. And so I migrated into education. So I worked for 10 years here in British Columbia at UBC's Faculty of Medicine. And my job was to support medical students. So basically I was acting as a bit of a counselor, and I helped them to plan out their future as residents and into their doctorhood. So that was really challenging, but there was this sort of niggling in me to be creative, which was really quite surprising. My brother is an artist and my mom was an artist, and both phenomenal. And I always thought of myself as, well, they're the creatives and I'm the smart one. So I was okay with that. There was never any jealousy, or there was never any kind of concerns with that, but I just never really explored it. But then all of a sudden, I was probably around 40 years old. I just sort of half gave my age away. And, but around 40, and I just started to dabble, and it just kind of went from there. And as a result, around 2012, what is that? 9 years ago now. In 2012, after doing some interior design and renovating a few houses, that's kind of where I took my creative outlet. My brother and I created a company for a specialty furniture paint, which was so unexpected, so right, just right out of left field for me, really, except for the fact that it had to do with interior design. So my interest was in the color. I was wanting to paint a piece of furniture. And my brother said, well, why don't you just, use this kind of paint? He called it a fat paint, meaning it was thicker than a normal paint. That's what fat paint means. And that's the product that we created. And I said, sure. So I tried it and it was phenomenal. And I said, well, we should do this for a living. It was just sort of a joke, tongue in cheek. And he says, okay, like, all right. That was
I like your
unexpected as
brother's
well.
style. I like
Yeah,
it.
well, yes, absolutely. So, he had the recipe, and I had the color knowledge background from doing the interior design and decor that I'd done for many years up till that point, and off we went. And we had a successful, a very growing, at least into the last year, business. Yeah, that we just sold last year. We sold the primary assets to last year.
Yeah. So you sold your paint company. So you were doing a lot of social media and stuff
A
for your
whole lot. And what was interesting, Emily, was that we started 2012 into 2013, and that was when Facebook gave you just so much attention that you didn't need to pay for it. You didn't
brand.
need to work for it. And I have to tell you, it was a little bit addictive. But I was okay because Brad was making the paint. I was in charge of securing retailers to purchase and sell our paint, and just putting all the pretty together on first Facebook, and then we got into the Instagram and Pinterest and so on and so forth from there. And then it became a struggle to get the likes and things. And so then I had to learn how to strategize, how to build the content, to bring the people, especially different funnels and things to try and get new retailers to come toward us, because that is challenging. In the beginning, all I did was create a Facebook page and they came, but
Yeah.
eventually they stopped coming because you had to work for it a whole lot harder.
Yeah. I was working for Jennifer Allwood back in 2014, 2015, when all she had to do, not to discredit her at all, but if she went live, if you just went live, it's like all it would take. And everything was so new, and Facebook would reward early adapters. And even Pinterest was different, 5 years ago. And now it's getting harder and slower to grow my clients. And, not that it can't be done, but you're just not going to see the same rate.
Yeah.
So,
Well, back when I was dabbling in Pinterest, it was mostly just about pinning and creating boards, and people were following, but it really wasn't. It wasn't a funnel that was going to work for me, at least not in the beginning. And by the time it really was something that I could capitalize on, I wasn't fully engaged in that medium, which was a bit of a bad, not the best. It would have been a good platform for me to
yeah.
use.
But I mean, how many people are on your team? I mean, you can't do it all, right?
Well, it always kind of varied. Certainly for most of the beginning years, it was just me. I probably got my first assistant when we were about 3 years in, and then that person was doing the admin, and I was doing the social media and sales and things like that. By sales, I mean predominantly to retailers. We did have a storefront as well, so we had walk-in sales, and I did try and encourage that kind of thing through my social media activities, but predominantly it was retailers who would sell our product.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're trying to sign up stockists and retailers to represent your paint company and sell their paint
That's
in
right.
their store and their
Yeah.
e-commerce sites. So
And
you
we had retailers all around North America, which is great.
Oh my gosh, you had such a big start going into this. How were you learning all of this as a
By the seat of my pants. Now, truthfully, because of my interior design background, I had spent probably around 3 years blogging. So I did an awful lot of blogging beforehand. I also, because of my education and the things that I would do around community development, I was really quite focused on communication and different ideas and different ways to engage with people. So that part came kind of naturally. So eventually, when I created a Facebook group, for example, for the business, it was something I loved to do. And one of the things that I really prided myself in relation to my retailers is creating that community where they felt supported, because this is not simply a product that you buy and you put on your shelf.
right?
There's a whole lot of nurturing that goes along with it, and training of your retailers so they understand your product. It's not like a bar of soap where a customer comes in and just buys it and walks out or a candle because it smells so good. They're going to be asking a whole lot of questions, and I needed to make sure that my retailers understood
Yeah.
um, all about the things, and then constantly having to create new things and engaging as much as I could. So
If
yeah,
you're
I was a little slower. Oh, go ahead.
I
Sorry.
was going to say, if those customers don't use your products right and don't have success and don't experience a transformation, they're not going to come back and they're not going to
That's right.
repeat. They're going to blame the products. So you have this whole education part on top of
Absolutely.
your
But
social media.
educating customers, but also educating retailers. And
Right.
so I had a private Facebook group for retailers
Yeah.
where they could ask questions and we could communicate even around such mundane things as delivery and challenges in wintertime shipping. And, those are all sorts of things I needed to communicate. Yes. So it was about nurturing community and communication. And so those sorts of things, once Facebook rolled out the whole Facebook group thing, boy, that was one I jumped on real fast.
Oh,
I was a
good.
whole I was a whole lot slower to lives. I was afraid to go
I don't blame
live,
you.
but but once I did, I felt like it came pretty naturally for me for the most part. I think someone would have to go onto the Facebook business page and into history and see how they think I did on the lives. It's not always easy to demonstrate paint and talk to the camera and look interesting, but
Yeah.
I think I managed okay.
Good for you. Do you have any tips or tricks for anybody who's dealing with a client who doesn't want to go live?
Be yourself, be as natural as you can. You have to show your smile in your eyes because they're not going to be able to see your smile and they're not going to be able to see your energy
Mhm.
unless it's visible. I've seen people go live and I know they've got phenomenal personalities, but they're as dead as can be on, like this. And it's really, you have to just give that extra little bit of push. Do you know what
Mhm.
it reminds me of? Tyra Banks and that television program that she had. What the heck
America's
was that?
Next Top Model, and you're supposed to
Yes, and she'd
smile.
say,
I know this.
"Show in your eyes." So,
Nice.
I mean, I wouldn't go that extreme, but,
To do
I'd
it.
make sure that if and always don't look like right now, I find myself wanting to look at my camera or the view here. And I know when I'm doing that, I'm not looking at you or I'm not looking at the people. Hello, people. So
Yeah.
you have to make sure that you're looking where that camera is. And that's another thing that is really important to remember.
That's hard for me anyway with eye contact, but I had to put like a little sticky note up there that said, "Look at me." And I was
Yes.
terrible. I mean, I'm still like getting there, but right now I look at you because we're in an interview, but I just try to put you like right under the camera.
Yeah. So those are the sorts of things that I know that when I was learning, I had to remember. But personality is key, and being as natural and yourself as possible. Don't be fake.
Yeah. And don't try to
People
be
want real.
Yeah. 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 We have so many of your peers and your fellow students here cheering you on, and they cannot believe your background. And I wanted to bring you on here to show people that this is a smart field to be in, and you can make this business whatever you want. And we have
Mhm.
so many talented women coming from degrees and experiences looking for just something new. Like there really is something for everyone. And here you owned your own paint company. It's crazy. So what happened after you sold the paint company?
Oh, to be quite honest, and I'm going to be very honest with you all, I fell into a huge funk, and it's been really, really challenging to move myself out of it. It was a reluctant sale of assets. We had encountered some struggles. Rent costs were going up, things like that.
Mhm.
In hindsight, could have created more solid funnels to try and recruit. So all things that you recognize and after the fact, and then by that point, it's a little bit too late. So we were fortunate enough to be able to find someone to take on the brand, which was something that was really important to me because I was quite committed to my retailers and I didn't want them to lose the product on their shelves. So
Yeah.
that felt good. But then I got home and I'm like, I was about to swear. I swear too much. What the heck do I do now?
You
I
won't
didn't,
offend
I
me.
just,
However, I don't know about my audience, but I do have no kids in the room. So if it slips out, I won't judge you.
no, no, no. I'll try my best to be
Yeah.
polite. I think it's from so much time spent with my brother in a production facility. You just let the words flow. But seriously, we separated ourselves from the business in August. It didn't fully sell until later last year, but I was pretty much out of it, apart from some training of the new owners, and I just sat around at home trying to figure out what the heck I was going to do. And I thought to myself, I really like social media. I really like content creation. I really like helping someone to build a brand. So if anyone goes over to the Fat Paint page and has a look at that brand, it's very distinct, very sarcastic, I mean, just the name fat paint is sarcastic. People would say, well, what does that mean? And it was always a lot of fun to try and describe it. So the creation of brand is something I really like a lot. And then, I thought, well, I like interior design. Should I go back into that? Or, I really like, but then there's this part of me that doesn't want to be creative anymore either, at least not in relation to hands-on. When it comes to computer stuff, I really still enjoy it a lot. So no, it was just really, really confusing. And then it just kept coming back to the fact that I wanted to get out of my world. And I thought, well, I want to be able to travel the world. I want to go anywhere. But how can I do that without money? You need to have money for that. So I thought, well, I
Sugar
should be
daddy,
able to work on my computer and do that. And it just sort of, slowly came to my mind that there's a whole lot of this that I could be doing. Now, I know that what I need to do now, because I'm so new at this, is I need to niche down into things that I am best at. So right now I'm keeping things pretty general, but I'm finding that it could very well work. I don't want to work for someone else now that I've worked for myself. I mean, certainly helping a client is a little bit different than having a boss,
right?
because I can participate in that relationship in a different kind of way. I'm coming to them with an expertise that they don't necessarily have. And I suppose in a boss employee kind of relationship, there's a bit of that as well, but you're still beholden to that boss, and there are rules to follow, and, yeah. 9 to 5 to keep, that doesn't work for me.
It's like you still have to find that balance of keeping your clients happy, but there are just different boundaries, and you really decide what those are. And I've made tons of mistakes in this area, and a lot of it you kind of let them down when you're just getting the work. But as you grow, it will feel you can kind of be hater. You'll get there. It doesn't happen at the beginning, but
it's absolutely true. And you choose the clients that you want to work with. If there's something that isn't meshing, you can walk away. I worked, like I said, for 10 years with the university here. I had an associate dean that I worked directly with who was an absolute witch with a capital B. And because I'm trying not to swear for you. She was horrid. And I'll tell you, here's a story. This is kind of fun. One time she went away on holiday and she came back and she brought me as a gift for her holiday trip a spatula. And I'm like, what the F are you thinking, lady? I don't bake. What makes you think I bake? Why do I want a spatula from your vacation? Like, who are you? And who do you think I am? The funny thing is, and by the time I left, I'll tell you, I was sick and tired of her. I was sick and tired of working for a boss. It was just horrid. And on the last 2 weeks, I'd given my notice. The last 2 weeks were heaven. My last day, I just smiles all the time, right? And then I sat home, and that was another transitionary point. And like, what the heck do I do? And that was when I discovered the paint, and Brad and I made paint. But when at first we were mixing our paint in this one fashion, and it wasn't working for me because it was really backbreaking. And I said, well, I'm going to use my KitchenAid mixer and my spatula.
What color?
And I thought,
is the spatula special in any way? Is it beautiful?
It was just I'll tell you, in relation to paint mixing, it was a very hard spatula. It was plastic, or not plastic. It was rubber, with a good, strong handle on it.
What color?
So it was perfect for cleaning out the bowl as I was pouring paint into containers. Yeah, back in the day when we were just making small amounts of paint. Yes. Now, unfortunately, part of the history of fat paint is less than a year into business, there was this massive fire that destroyed our building. And I lost my spatula and my KitchenAid mixer. But that's all right. By that point, we'd moved to great big, huge industrial mixers. So,
note to self: find Victoria a unicorn spatula for Christmas. Siri, do it. So tell me how you found my course in my world, because we've been crossing paths.
That's an easy one for me, and you know the answer to this one already. We haven't even talked about this, everybody, in advance, but she knows.
Yeah.
A good friend of mine, Wendy Batten. She used to be, back when she owned a shop called Front Porch Mercantile, she used to be a stockist of fat paint. I cajoled her into carrying my paint, and she did. So I'm always eternally grateful for that. And then later on, she helped me do recruiting of students. I took I've taken 2 trips out to Lunenburg to see her place there. And if you
Aw.
haven't been to Lunenburg, people, it's the most special place in the world. Seriously, after selling the business, I had a little bit of money in my pocket, and I thought to myself, I'm just going to move to Lunenburg. But I'll tell you, Wendy, if you're watching this at all, because I know sometimes she pops in,
Yeah.
um, I couldn't imagine living in a world of ticks that give you Lyme's disease. So I'm like, no thanks. No, no. So I've been squeamish about that. One time we were at a resort along the beach, and she caught a flea crawling on my up my back of my jacket. I'm like, heebie-jeebies. So no, Lindenberg is absolutely gorgeous, and if it weren't for ticks, I would be there in a heartbeat. It's so gorgeous. And so yeah, Wendy. And so I think was Wendy maybe an affiliate and sharing, or did she just at any rate, I yeah, found you
So
through me.
I knew you owned the company, and you when you joined my course, I was like, I was excited, and I
Like,
knew you
who the
were
heck's that?
yeah, I knew you were coming with this experience, and I was really curious what you were going to do with it. And it's cool because I'm getting a lot of job leads from other creatives, so you can keep your hand in the business and scoop up some of those clients, but not have to put in the backbreaking work of the creative side. Like I feel like this type of work, I still get a creative, tangible output. I'm just not, physically, working with my hands in the same way. But does it kind of like, do you find that too? Does it kind of like check that box for you?
Yes, I mean, it is like I said, a little. Well, actually, this was something that Emily, sorry, and everyone we were talking about before we got on here live. But I've got a client here now who is extremely creative, and the challenge I'm finding is because I'm so accustomed to being the boss in my own creative environment that it's difficult. This is the challenge. The only challenge I'm really having is not saying this is the way it should be and have it become that way.
Yeah.
She's got her own agenda and her own brand to build, and so I have to really take a concerted effort to step back and allow that to happen. And time, there have been several times over the last few weeks that we've been working together, the last month or so, where allowing that to just sort of naturally happen, I've learned that she knows her brand a little bit better than I do, and so I should just zip it
Yeah.
sometimes. But
Yeah.
but she
I
has
got some
taken
good
my
advice.
yeah, she has taken some of my advice, which is great. For example, she has, at least until now, done her lives for 1 full hour every single day. And I said to her, that's too much. That's too much. And she wouldn't listen to me at first.
No, she
And
doesn't.
now she's starting to come around, and she's saying, I'm starting to realize that maybe I should just be doing 3 a week. And I said, would you consider taking them to half an hour? And she said, no. So at least I've got her down to 3 a week. I don't know if she started that yet.
Podcast is sponsored by my very own GIF and sticker making workshop. Turn your clients' videos into GIFs, design branded stickers for Instagram stories, and master the art of making your own GIF for promo emails. This is fun unicorn magic that we can do behind the scenes easily for our clients. The workshop is 1 hour, just $17.99. The link is in the show notes, or go to emilyreaganpr.com/GIF workshop. That's GIF workshop. Back to the show. And what she needed someone like you who was going to step in and be a little bit of a bossy pants because of how she is and how creative, and we love her to death, but she needs somebody to focus her who remembers the big picture of what we're trying to do. We're trying to make money, not just do Facebook Lives. And
I mean, 5 hours a week, Emily,
yeah,
and more if she
yeah,
decided on a whim to do it again on a weekend. I mean,
yeah,
that's
which she
craziness.
does. But she needs somebody to step up to that sidekick role. And you're not just an admin VA getting the blogs out. Like you're keeping her on par. On par. That's probably you're like on route to success. And she needs a conductor. Like nobody.
Yeah. And I have to decide, actually, that's when we talk about niching down, Emily, that's where I have to decide whether or not that is a direction I want to niche into. I know that becoming, what's it called again? Amy Porterfield calls her primary right hand. What's
Her
that job called?
integrator.
Integrator.
Integrator, yeah.
There's so much involved. That's essentially, I think, what I'm doing for my current client. I've got actually 3 clients. 2
Okay.
are past retailers, and they're not paying me. I'm just sort of doing things for them on the side. But it was great because one was website, helping her with her website and getting it moving and looking a little bit better, and that was easy to do. And the other one was Shopify, which I'd never worked on before, so it was good experience.
Oh, I love that you did it. You
Yeah.
totally did the unicorn way and jumped in.
Yes, I did, absolutely. And she said she needed to do I know anyone who knows Shopify? And I'm like, I know WooCommerce. Let me give it a try. But at any rate, so this is my first paying client, and what the heck was I going to say? Just
We were
that,
talking about moving down into an integrator role or not. I could
being an
tell where you're
integrator.
going.
Yeah. I know after having done it for years and years and years, I don't like doing admin, and I don't like doing the scheduling, and I don't like telling people, like keeping track of other people's schedules. So could I be an integrator? I certainly have the capability to be an integrator. Do I want to be an integrator? I have to figure that out. So that's kind of what I'm doing for my current client, and we'll see what happens. What I'd rather do is work my way into a role where maybe she's got someone else doing some of that more basic stuff. And I can still play the integrator role in that I am conducting, if you will, those activities.
Yes.
That's the role of an integrator, is to balance and make sure that everyone's doing the things that they're supposed to be doing. I'd be certainly, and that's, to be truthful, that's where I really do well, is when I am the leader in the group. But to do that kind of work myself, it's just painful, and I'll avoid it like the plague.
I am on the same boat as you. I mean, I could step up and do it if needed, but that's just not my fun zone. It's not my desire zone. But I do like being the creative director. I do like coming up with the ideas for the blogs and the pins, and it like all comes together for me, and telling people on the team to make it happen.
You and me, Emily, we're sisters from a different misters.
But people need us. People need us. And that's why in my webinar, I talk about that 5th one is I don't really know what to call us, but we're the consultants. You know, we can see the high level view and we can pull out interesting, content from that. And that's needed. It's just, we're in that little gray area where we're still implementing, we're still integrating, and we unfortunately do some admin. And that's the first thing I pull myself out of, because it's not my thing. And
No. I mean, working on that Shopify site, I had to do some YouTube tutorials, and I had to really dig in and say, from my blogging experience and working in different platforms, WordPress, and I've done all of that and can do all of that. I know that this can look a certain way, and I know it can operate in this way. So how am I going to make that happen? I enjoyed that a lot. I enjoyed working on my other friend's website. It was WordPress, but it wasn't Divi themed, and that was very frustrating. And so I had to get my head around something Builder. I can't remember what it's called.
Oh, is it Beaver Builder?
Yes. Couldn't stand it, and so limited. And I
love that we're like talking nerdy back end WordPress talk right now.
Well, I'm just quite surprised that I like it, because I still am very limited in my experience in this. And so, for example, I've got my own WordPress Divi themed WordPress website that I'm working on. And I've just encountered a bit of a roadblock on design a couple of months ago, and then I walked away. So I'm like, no. I'm going to get back and get that going on.
Sometimes I just have to do that. I have to walk away and come back. And it just gets clearer and clearer every time I get in there. But or ask somebody in the group. We have some people who are good at it, who know it.
And for me, though, it's also about confidence, Emily. My confidence after the business, even though there was so much that I can toot my own horn for and say was really, really successful, I walked away feeling really a bit like a failure, a whole lot like a failure, not a bit. And so part of this the last few months, a whole lot more than a few months, it's been almost a year now, of pivoting and reimagining who I am, has come with a whole lot of, I'm still in my head saying, oh, you can't do this. You're not good enough to do this. And I'm like, yes, I am. Yeah. So literally having to, reprogram my brain into believing in myself again. So that's been really, really challenging. I'm still struggling with that. So a lot of times, like, for example, with the WordPress example I gave you, walking away, that's me in my head getting in my way. And so
Yeah.
I just need to get back into it and do it because I know I'm capable of doing it.
But I'll also push down things that I don't have the mental capacity for, and then I'll just keep pushing them down. But I'm so thankful you shared that, because I think a lot of us struggle with that, whether we have been off having babies and not working, and just at the pace things change, and we can
Yeah.
feel so behind with what other people are doing. But I mean, you're living it right now, going in there and figuring things out and making it successful. I mean, you have the knowledge. It's just, and doing it, who's to say next time won't not be different? Everything's going to change again. So it's like an uncomfortable zone that we stay in. And it's hard. But gosh, like, and I know you hear that, but just because your paint line might not have ended on a successful note doesn't mean it was a failure, you know?
No, there was so much that was positive, and I grew in ways that I never imagined. And like I said in the beginning, tapping into a creativity that I never knew I had. And to think that between 40 and the age I'm at now, which we won't say, no, I'll be 57 this year, you guys. So I'm getting up there. See, look at that. My COVID roots are showing. Um, but I mean, that's 17 years doing something completely different from what I had, focused on for all those years prior to, you
Yeah.
know? So what was that? If I started work when I was in my teens, that's 20, 30 years in the admin industry
Mhm.
before, and in community development after that. Yeah. So, which is essentially admin, but with people involved.
But I love that you're getting this experience now and realizing what you like, because
Mm,
that's just going to help you. And yeah, there are some things your clients just need to help you do, because that's where they're at and that's where
mhm.
the burning fire is. But you're getting so much clarity by working in this unicorn role, and it's going to take off for you when you figure out what that thing is and you start
Yeah.
finding the right clients.
And stop getting in my own way. Imposter syndrome is real, and it's definitely something that you have to kick your own self in your own butt and move past it. You put up these postings, Emily, that I'm like, well, I could do that. That's totally me. And in a few instances, I've said, yeah, well, I'll apply for that. And then, I get in my own way, and I don't. Well, I don't have my resume ready, and she wants that, or I don't have my portfolio together. I don't have my website together, and all these excuses that I always
Yeah.
bring back up again. And then, but in the case of my current client, all of those things came up. And even the part when you said that she might be a bit of, she's got a personality and she might be a bit challenging. And I even said to you, do I want personality? I don't know that I want that. And yet that was one I thought to myself, this is BS. You just need to approach her. And I did. I had nothing. I had none of these things I talked about, website,
Yeah.
nothing. And I approached her, and she was immediately, I think she knew where I was coming. She knew I was from Fat Paint.
Yeah.
And so she says, I want to work with you. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't, and I honestly didn't know if that was going to be something you wanted to do or not. And so I'm glad we've had this one-on-one conversation, because I can help you find better jobs. And I'm going to tell you right now, don't go for those admin roles. Don't go be a Facebook community manager. I'm about to post one of those on our jobs. Don't put your name in that. Like, you don't need that. We'll find something that's more on this side of like art direction,
Art
creative
direction. Yeah.
marketing director, like that stuff you'll have fun with, but you don't need to go there, because you have a lot of experience. Unless you want the money, or you want the hours, or you want to get in and work with somebody and grow into their person that does that. If it's somebody you really believe in and you're passionate about, it's not going to be fun for you.
Yeah, that's kind of the hard part, is because I am getting to the point where my savings are just about gone, and I need to
You need to up your hours.
I need to get more money up. But that's another challenge for me is, gosh, I'm going to sound so full of myself, but I feel that I'm worth a little bit more than $20 an hour.
Oh yeah.
If I were to go out and get an actual job, which I've already told you I don't want to do, working with an actual boss, the kind of money I know that I'm capable of making is probably 10 times that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but that means I've got to go out, out into
Yeah.
the world.
There has to
I'm
be a
quite
single
content
out
right here in my new apartment.
So, get like your next client. I want you to increase your rate. Like, don't do $28 an hour. Like, you're doing this. This was a confidence boost. We all need that. We all do that. I think all of us question our hourly rates and our worth all of the time. So your next person, you're gonna up it, and you're gonna be just a little bit more confident. And then it's pretty soon, once people start realizing you have all of this social media experience, like you could easily be at the consultant rate, and you won't even be thinking, double guessing the job in the office.
Yeah.
And
the business background as well. That means that I understand their business.
Yeah. So you get on that track to consultant, visibility coach, like you start doing that stuff, and I'll like keep you in mind for that.
I'm going to write visibility coach down. I like that.
Yeah. Oh, it's hot right now. So many people need that help. And if you're kind of, like you said, good with communications and connecting people and with your retailers, like I could see you doing well there. So tell us, so we barely talked about it. Tell us what made you sign up for the crash course and what you like learned the most from it.
So I think it's pretty clear that for the most part, I had the skill sets that Emily was already teaching. I already knew how to do largely what Emily was sharing with everybody. I didn't really know SEO. So I did learn that in the course, and I was grateful for that. But truly, I think it harkens back to the conversation around imposter syndrome. Mm-hmm. I did not feel like I was legitimate enough to be able to just walk into this world. And I wanted to have a whole lot more confidence in what it was I had to offer. And so taking the course, and I went from the beginning to the end of it, really helped to give me that sense of, I could totally do this. I belong here, and I could totally be this unicorn. And I don't know, there needs to be like a higher above unicorn, because that's where I'm aiming, is unicorn plus.
Unicorn visibility coach.
But also, I think, one of the things that motivated me too was that even though I do have a business background, there were elements of the business end of being a VA. Like, I've never put together an invoice for somebody because, well, that's not entirely true. No, the invoices we created for people were product based. So it was different. Like, how do I manage my time, and how do I do these sorts of things? And those are the sorts of things that I really wanted to learn from Emily's course. Still trying to get my head around some of that, but the course, but that was one of there was like I said, the wanting to feel confident and sure of myself in a world that I was unfamiliar with. Yeah. And also wanting to try and get to understand the personal business admin element of things. Yeah. So that I would feel more confident moving forward.
Because there's no piece of paper that says like, hey, I can do it. I got the certification, and it's a weird world right now. And I'm starting to see project management courses come up for online business managers and whatnot. But this other realm that we're in right now, you have to have faith in yourself. And I've taken courses too, where I gained nothing but confidence. Like, oh God, I'm doing it right. Actually, I'm doing it better. But I don't want you to say that to my audience, but it gives you that boost. And
well, that's why I said unicorn plus, is because, hey, I can do this, and I can do it not better than,
yeah. I have more.
I can rock this world.
Yeah. Everybody's coming to the table with something else they offer, some other industry, some other work experience that just adds to that and makes it some kind of magical trifecta of.
That's right. I mean, you said you've got teachers that are coming in. I know that there are people who have done, haven't really done the admin, but have got other personality traits and things that they're bringing into the equation. I see it, from the people in the groups with us. So yeah, I love it. The variety is terrific, and so much enthusiasm and support for one another, which is good too.
Yeah. And already Melanie's in the group saying she has a client for you. She has someone who needs more of a consultant. And I want you to jump on that.
I just got nervous, Melanie.
I know. Consultations get me nervous, but you're going to fake it till you make it, because you got the skills, you got the experience. You're not faking it because you know it. It's just hard because people's situations are different, but you get the visibility track. What social media is really trying to do here. So you can steer them, because people just get off path, and they need you to come back, and they need a plan. They want to be told what to do.
With Sue, what I had to tell her, she wanted to just dive right in. I want this, I want this, I want this. And I'm like, hang on a second. I need to just sit in the background for the next week and just have a look at what you're doing and think about this and get my head around it. So, yeah, I mean, that's exactly what you said is exactly right. Is you can fake it till you make it, but also, you approach them, you say, this is what I'm capable of doing, but I'm not going to be able to do that just yet. Just give me a minute. I need to research you a little bit, see what it is that you're doing before I can get a sense of how I can help you and how we can move forward together.
A lot of them are inconsistent. A lot of business owners are very inconsistent online. We're all trying to do so much. And by hiring you, you're kind of like their fitness coach. Like you show up to the gym and you do the work because somebody's watching. Like there's a whole mindset behind this accountability. And the consultant world is no different. It just doesn't sound so pretty when I say it out loud like that. But all of my clients struggle with consistency and they wanted somebody to come in there and whip them into shape.
Yeah. And I think when I talk about helping people with their branding, that's kind of actually what I'm talking about. I'm not going to design the logo, but I want to help them to say, this is the brand that you've identified. Now let's solidify that and make it really, visible and there for people to gravitate toward.
Yes.
That's what brand is all about. We talked about it earlier in relation to Facebook Lives, showing your true, real personality. That's branding.
Yes. And so many people, when I start working with them, the first thing I do is give them like little, I don't know, come in there tearing everything apart, but little like touches to their Facebook page, little things we can change, like get rid of some selfies, just like little tweaks. And I kind of test them and see how they are, if they're pushing back on me, if they're open, and I'll get a feel if we're a good fit. Yeah. I start seeing if they can email every week, if they can show up for me, I can show up for them. So, well, I can't thank you enough for being here. We actually have Carolyn on next. So Carolyn, go ahead and click on the link so you can join us. I hope you have it.
Yeah. And Carolyn, I apologize. We took a bit of time, Carolyn's time. So thanks everyone. Bye.
Bye. Isn't Victoria amazing? So right now she's offering digital media support, content creation, and e-visibility solutions to her clients. She works with them to enhance their brand. She has that fabulous eye for design, and she is going places. I see her being a very high-level consultant in no time. I just love hearing the real stories of people who are kicking booty online, who had the gumption to start and follow their dreams and build a business that works with their lifestyle. Next week, we're going to be talking to a ghost blog writer who worked for Dirt Cheap, and now she's turned into a 6-figure copywriter and course creator. And I want you to hear from her because I want you to see what the possibilities are when you start and you get the experience. Victoria is laying the groundwork for her business to get there. I can't wait to check in with her in a year and see where she's at. So next week, we're going to bring someone who has put in her time, done the work, learned the digital marketing, and she is going places. But in our very next episode, we're going to cover the 5 digital marketing areas every freelancer should know. Whether you're going to niche down in copywriting, website, design, content management, you need to know these 5 areas. So tune in then, and don't forget to sign up for the masterclass. I'll see you soon. Bye. If you're ready to learn the digital marketing and social media skills that will get you hired online, head over to vacrashcourse.com where you can learn about my 5-week program, the Digital Media VA Crash Course. Small business owners and solopreneurs want to hire someone who gets it and who can help them implement just about everything. They're looking for a magical assistant who does it all. With my comprehensive training, you can get your foot in the door and become a unicorn. Check out vacrashcourse.com.
From one end to the end
She's here watching, so that actually worked out well. I kept kind of waiting for her to pop in here, but I am doing everything by the seat of my pants today.
So what do I exit now? Is that what's
no, already. So I'll say what we're going to do is after we're done, will you pop back in the group and share your social media handles, just where people can follow you and watch you, because we know you're going to go big.
Want me to write it in the contents?